Thanks for your company this afternoon. To a very fair story, John Dramani Mahama, president, says Ghana is firmly on the path to recovery 1 year after his administration inherited what he describes as a nation in deep economic and social distress. In his New Year message, the president said the past 12 months have been marked by prudent economic management and difficult but necessary reforms which have helped stabilize the economy and restore confidence. He noted that the foundation laid in 2025 now positions the country for accelerated growth in 2026, stressing that sustaining the gains will require focus, discipline, and collective effort.
I can confirm that the promise of renewal we made was not mere rhetoric. It was a covenant, and we have begun to deliver on that covenant. 1 year ago, we inherited a nation in distress, an economy on its knees, unemployment crushing our youth, infrastructure crumbling, public trust eroded, and hope dimming in the eyes of our people. We're told that the recovery would take a generation. But I knew something our critics did not know. I knew the resilient spirit of the Ghanaian people. At the dawn of the new year, I stand before you to say our beloved nation Ghana is rising again. We've accomplished a lot together in the past 12 months through prudent management and difficult but necessary reforms. We've reduced inflation from the distressing levels above 23% by the end of 2024 and are hopeful to end 2025 with inflation at single digits of just above 5%. We have achieved relative currency stability and on track to be ranked among the best performing currencies in the world for 2025. We're accelerating economic growth and creating more opportunities for our young people. We've restored business confidence and have seen a significant increase in both domestic and foreign direct investment.
President Mahama highlights stabilization of the fundamentals and removal of structural obstacles. But which specific reforms over the past year are most consequential, and are they enough to shift the economy towards higher sustained growth? Professor Patrick Assuming is an economist and lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School.
When the president said the foundation has been laid, he's probably referring to the fact that the macroeconomic environment has been relatively stabilized from the last few years, especially in 2022. So, I mean, there's no denying the fact. And he did refer to the macroeconomic indicators. Now, so from that score, I think it's a fair point for the president to say a strong foundation has been laid. You specifically have to mention the fact that the tax regime has improved somewhat for businesses. And more importantly, the falling interest rate has meant that the cost of credit has come down. So I think it's a good platform for businesses to build on. That is on the monetary and financial side. I think on the real side of the economy, there's still quite a lot of work to be done. We need to think about growth that drives jobs and growth that directly affects ordinary Ghanaians. This year, agri production has done great, but in the years prior, we saw that it wasn't very good. So you expect that we build a foundation that ensures that there's all year round farming, especially of perishables. Having a procurement system that favors purchasing made in Ghana. Leading up to the Christmas, I'm sure you've heard of situations where rice farmers, maize farmers have produced a lot, and we were struggling to get markets, and then prices were crumbling. So those kind of real system interventions to ensure that when we are producing, there's enough processing. I think that is the area, that's the kind of foundation that we need to build in addition to the macroeconomic environment to ensure that the growth will lead to prosperity.
Now, on the fight against corruption, President Mahama said every city belonging to the state must be fully accounted for as his government intensifies efforts to clamp down on corruption across all sectors of the economy. He emphasized that the anti-corruption drive will be pursued without fear or favor, insisting that no individual will be shielded from accountability.
Social housing through public-private partnerships. And we shall intensify the fight against corruption with no sacred cows. Every CD belongs to the people of Ghana and must be accounted for. We'll implement the recommendations of the Constitutional Review Committee to make our 1992 Constitution an even greater guide for the consolidation of our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, governments do not build nations alone. They do that with the cooperation of the citizenry. As we enter 2026, I call upon each one of you. First, our young people. You are not the leaders of tomorrow. You are the leaders of today.
Now, the president also reaffirmed his administration's commitment to infrastructure development, describing it as a critical driver of national progress. He disclosed that work has begun on the rehabilitation of more than 2,000 kilometers of road nationwide, aimed at improving transportation, facilitating the movement of goods and services, and supporting local businesses.
Our young people are Ghana's greatest assets. We're beginning to see significant growth in sectoral performance. Construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and services are showing very strong growth. This is creating a new opportunity for decent employment for our youth. Infrastructure is the backbone of development. We have begun the rehabilitation of over 2,000 kilometers of roads nationwide. We've restored a consistent supply of electricity and are expanding the rural electrification network to more than 1,000 additional communities.
Away from that, this afternoon, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, says its members will continue trading without charging value-added tax, as they are yet to receive the new tax receipt booklets from the Ghana Revenue Authority. The VAT reform, which took effect on January 1st, 2026, reduced the effective VAT rate from 21.9% to 20% and raised the registration threshold from 200,000 Ghana cedis to 750,000 Ghana cedis. Speaking to Joy News, GUTA President Clement Boateng said members will begin charging VAT once the new receipt booklets are issued.
So implementation is starting tomorrow. Luckily for us, we are on holidays, and the real implementation, as far as I'm concerned, will start on Monday. So since currently we haven't had any modalities from the GRA as far as implementation is concerned, we think we are going to, be making our sales without charging any VAT until we get a clear-cut, direction from GRA.
And now we're joined by the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Clement Boateng. Thanks for joining us, sir. Today marks the second day since the new VAT reforms took effect. Can you confirm whether your union has received the new VAT receipt booklets from GRA?
Not yet. So, like I told you in our earlier conversation, we are still waiting, to have a clear-cut modalities from GRA. In this connection, I have had some discussions with some officials of GRA, and we are trying to arrange a meeting with them on Monday, and I take it from there.
You've also been calling for inclusion in the new modified tax system. Why do you believe this should be prioritized?
Yes, this should be prioritized because, like I earlier told you, we have had, some extensive work as far as the new modified tax system is concerned with GRA. And we think most of our members, are placed within that threshold of 200,000 to 750,000. And we are all also trading in the same, vicinity, in the same commodity line. So we think most of our members, are in a better position, to be on the new modified tax system rather than the 20% VAT, in order to curb the cascading effect that we have had for some time.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. And that was Clement Boateng, who is the president of GUTA. Now, former Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has raised concerns over the delays in construction of a 196-kilometer Wenchi-Sola road nearly 2 months after President Mahama cut the sod for work to begin. While commending the government initiative, he is calling for faster progress on the project and renewed attention to stalled Agenda 111 hospital project and bail conditions he believes need reform. He spoke to Rafiq Salam.
Former Interior Minister Ambrose Derry's exclusive interview on the margins of his annual New Year party at Kokolugu covered a wide range of issues including education, health, judicial process, road infrastructure, and the MPP flag bearership contest. He described the Big Push project by President John Dramani Mahama as a great idea, but was unhappy with the slow pace of implementation. President John Dramani Mahama, a couple of months ago, at 2 separate events at Sola and Gole in the Savannah and Upper West regions, broke the ground for work to begin on the Wenchi-Sola Road and the Watumuhen-Tumunabrango Road. Ambrose Derry expected work to begin in earnest, but not an inch of blade space has been constructed so far.
They talk of Big Push. It's a great idea, but my people came by road, and the Big Push on the Bole to our road has not been, it's not obvious. I believe if it's to start, it has not yet started. My appeal is that it should be started. The president rightly recognized that road has been awarded, and I'm happy that they are trying to mobilize money to do it. But probably they should do it a little bit faster. 1 year is gone, and we will have 3 more years, but effectively you have 2 more years.
Ambrose Derry waded into the issue of bail conditions granted by the courts, which he thinks could be addressed better.
People are bail that are delayed or not granted, and when they are granted, the various sums are rather colossal. Yes, it can be related to the value of what the offense or loss that has been occasioned. But in some of those cases where they have properties involved, like properties that you have frozen and are in your control, probably there should be a better way of handling it.
On the MPP flag bearer contest, though he sided with the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as the best man for the job, he urged aspirants to campaign with decorum and civility in order not to poison their interpersonal relationship, which will jeopardize their chance of uniting in their bid to annex power from the NDC.
Of course, I have my preference. I would want Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Elijah Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to be the flag bearer. He has the qualities to be. He's conducted his campaign in a very simple manner. He doesn't call people's names. He doesn't insult people. And I encourage him to continue that way and encourage the others to work together. And that at the end of the day, whoever wins, we work together so that we can get power for the NPP.
Another issue of worry for the former Nandom legislature, which he voiced out, was a stalled Agenda 111 project.
And that's why the nurses have a challenge now. We were expecting that all those will be facilities that will give employment to the nurses. So yes, by all means, investigate whatever you want to investigate. By the end of the day, the government should also go ahead and do what I think is the needful. Every district should be given a facility. Now, let me say, I believe has a facility that is growing very, very well. So I would want all these projects to go on.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam, Kokoligo.
Now let's step into the camp of the NDC. The national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, has waded into the 214 million losses incurred by the Bank of Ghana under the Gold for Reserves program. According to him, the politicization of the losses smacks of desperate attempts to smear the government with fabricated scandals. Kwame Yanka has more from the 44th commemoration of the 31st December Revolution in Ada.
The 44th anniversary commemoration of the 31st December 1981 revolution at Adan unfolded in two main parts. The first segment featured lighting of the perpetual flame, symbolizing reverence for fallen heroes, fidelity to the founding principles of the revolution, and the enduring resilience of its ideals. This was followed by laying of wreaths in honor of those who sacrificed their lives for the revolutionary cause. Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman laid the first wreath on behalf of the people of Ghana, followed by representatives of security services, cadres, traditional authorities, market women, fishers, among other groups. The Member of Parliament for Korle Klottey, Dr. Zaneto Agyeman Rawlings, also laid the wreath in honor of the central figure of the 31st December Revolution, the late Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, who was also the founder of the National Democratic Congress. The second part of the event featured speeches reflecting on the legacy of the revolution and Ghana's current socio-political landscape. In his address, NDC National Chairman Johnson Asiedu Nketia criticized the New Patriotic Party over deliberate attempt to taint the government with scandals, including the $240 million loss. The government is earning widespread commendation for its clean record, having so far avoided any major scandal in its first year. This has clearly unsettled the opposition, who appear determined to manufacture controversy at all costs. President John Mahama, Bank of Ghana Governor Johnson Asiama, and Gold Board CEO Sami Gyamfi have implemented practical solutions to challenges that the NPP administration under Nana Akufo-Addo struggled with throughout its 8 years in office. Dr. Zaneto Agyeman Rawlings, in her remarks, urged the party to guard against decisions and actions that undermine the core values and principles of the 31st December Revolution.
The responsibility on government is so huge to provide an enabling environment, one that is not drowning in corruption or nepotism or ethnicity or marginalization of members of this country. This country can only survive if we do it together, with dignity, with respect for one another, exhibiting those timeless principles of integrity, of transparency, of accountability, of probity. Ladies and gentlemen, if we are to leave Ghana better than we found it, we have a duty to stick to those principles.
Meanwhile, Vice President Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman emphasized that the principles which shaped both Ghana's past and the ideological foundation of the NDC must continue to guide governance and national development.
And I'm using this to let us all know that there's so much we have survived. And we have survived that based on certain principles. And those principles still persist and they are still valid. Those principles have shaped our history as we have come along, including what we are celebrating today. The very important fact of holding ourselves together, of saying no to the wrong things and forging ahead with the values that matter. There was one thing that also used to occupy J.J. Rawlings, and that was the people whose names may have perished, but who were part of the forward march. He never forgot.
Other speakers highlighted issues aimed at strengthening the party and advancing national progress. This year's commemoration was on the theme Consolidating the Reset Agenda, Reflections on the Gains of the 31st December Revolution. Kwame Yankesh reports for Joy News.
Now let's head over to the Volta region, where a heavy armed security presence has been deployed at the whole central mosque in the Volta region. This follows disturbances last week when armed individuals reportedly stormed the mosque and opened fire on worshippers. The unrest is understood to stem from a long-running dispute over the imamship, with two factions contesting leadership of the regional leadership of the Muslim community. The main mosque has been locked, while some members of the community are seen preparing the residents of one of the factions to perform today's Juma prayers outdoor. Albert Kuzo, my colleague with my Joy Online, joins me via Zoom with some updates. Thanks for joining us, Albert. Now, can you describe the scale and deployment of the security forces in Ho ahead of today's Juma prayers?
Thank you, Sheila. So, as you rightly mentioned, there's heavy security presence here from the Ghana Armed Forces, the 66th Artillery Regiment, and the National Security, as well as the Regional Command of the Ghana Police Service, all deployed here since 3 a.m. I understand they were deployed there at 3 a.m. When they came, the first thing they did was to lock the central mosque. So, as we're speaking, the security guys from the various security agencies are currently manning this facility.
Albert, what is the current situation at the main mosque, and how are worshippers responding to the closure?
Okay, so I spoke with a few of them, and they mentioned that that was around 3 a.m. when the mosque was locked today. So they decided to perform today's prayers. Nothing will stop them from performing today's prayers. So they've moved to one of the factions' house. You know, one of the factions, or the two people fighting over the imamship, has to do with one Mudiru and then Alpha Anas. So majority of the masses here at the Zozongo moved to Alpha Anas residence, where they are preparing the grounds to perform today's prayer. So as we speak, they are mounting canopies. Some started coming around with their mats. Some of the youths also saw mounting sound system, and they also brought, understand, before the mosque was locked, they picked some of the things that they would need for today's prayers. So they are mounting those things in Alpha Anas house right now, as we are speaking, for them to perform the prayers in the next 30 minutes. So on the ground, once the main facility is locked, the Muslim folks are saying that nothing will stop them from performing today's prayer. So they are going to perform that in Alpha Anas residence. That is what's happening right now.
All right, Albert, we understand that you spoke to some of the people who sustained injury from the gunshots last week. How are they faring now? And
I spoke with two of them. Yeah, I spoke with two of them, and they mentioned that last week they were also in the mosque performing prayers before the disturbance occurred, and so they were quickly rushed to hospital. Unfortunately, they are alleging that none, or the leadership of the region, I mean the RESEC or the members from the regional minister's office, none of these people who are leading the region were able to come to see them, to understand what is happening from them. That is their allegation, that they were injured out of this dispute, but then the leadership of the region, allegedly ignored them. So, but for them, they are okay, and then nothing will stop them from participating. So, some of them are also here to perform today's Juma prayer in Alpha Anas residence. Maybe we can listen to some of them.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Albert Kuzo is my colleague from myjoyonline.com. Away from that, motorists have welcomed the reduction in fuel prices at the start of the year, describing it as a positive signal for the months ahead. However, many remain cautious, saying the relief is yet to be felt in their pockets, and that is the high cost of spare parts makes an immediate reduction in transport fares unlikely. Well, I visited the Circle Newplant station earlier today.
but above
fuel prices have reduced, but not across the board. While some stations have lowered their prices, others are still selling at higher rates.
I applied the Kumasi Accra route. Previously, I bought fuel worth 6,000 cedis, but today I bought 5,000 and my tank was full.
I don't agree that fuel prices have reduced. I am yet to see any change, and even if there is, I don't think it will be sustained.
If say, fuel water on 1 cedi. 3 days after, I go say 3 cedis.
This driver is contemplating the stability of the fuel reduction. Now, he is not too sure if we are going to see it sustained. Fuel laba for me, ebe affected transport fares and so on.
There be nientia entumi enfesino. Aboso kan engine ties ni nyoma no. Omo de omo enti suye. Omo de so omo so etiswa. Now you also at the furniture. Tie we 6 million. Fish tie. C'est some 7 million. 8 million. C'est engine 500 million, 800 million, 1 million. Abuso kan de omo de omo ntijai. So mo anyone ntino sana eti.
We cannot agree to a reduction in transport fares yet because spare parts at Abosewokan are still expensive. If spare parts dealers reduce their prices, then we may consider reducing fares as well.
Well, the New Year edition of the Love FM Family Party in the Park has climaxed in grand style at the Kumasi Rotary Park, with patrons soaking in live band music as the curtains draw on the day-long celebration. From energetic dance moves to sing-alongs, the atmosphere remained electric as families refused to leave the park. The phenomenal increase in attendance compared to last year signaled the growth of the Love FM Family Party in the Park as Kumasi's biggest outdoor family event to usher in the new year. Here's a report.
This is where all the fun is at the Love FM Family Party in the park. And all the dance, all the music you hear is the climax of a day-long activity. And from now till when everybody gets tired, there's going to be music and music and music. And just as you can see, it's going to be more dancing and dancing.
What was it?
Well, the excitement is enormous, bruh. Now they won't go for you.
When ya, many people go where they. Men condemn Quetina, me were higher, or Pimisa, or Magasama, no more free attacker, and Indian Quani.
You engage more patrons. It seems like the excitement is overwhelming. And just as you heard from them, until they get tired, they are not going to leave the dancing floor. Mommy, when you're Japan, Papa, Love FM Family Party in the park. I'm when you're G. There's some now.
Oh, this is the third time, yeah, that I've been here. Because I feel be amra. I had fun.
And so from organization perspective, we want to know if target has been met. Comparing this year to last year, have you exceeded? Have you met target yet?
I think you need to testify that yourself. You can see the numbers just behind us. Comparatively, this year looks a little better than last year in terms of the numbers. So it has been very overwhelming. It has been very wonderful, and I'm so excited. I'm super excited looking at the numbers. Around 12 p.m. thereabout, the weather was not too good. but we're still praying to God to give us a very good weather. And it has been a very successful event. In fact, 2026 looks super. 2026 looks so good. So the people of Kumasi should watch out for bigger events coming their way.
We get to have direct consumer engagements. We get to have a large crowd to sample our products, and then we get to have some for the cooking. We get to have some to give out for packages, for our awards. So yes, Target, we get to get closer to our consumers. If they have questions, they can ask. They get to experience our
Well, that was quite the party at Love FM's family party in the park. Now, talk of party, the countdown is on as the city prepares for one of the biggest throwback parties of the year. Joy FM's 90s Jam is set to light up the night with classic hits, iconic performances, and non-stop entertainment. Here's some multimedia staff reliving the nostalgic days.
I don't want your number, no. I don't want to give you mine, no. I don't want to meet you, no, I know. I don't want none of your time, no. I don't want no scrap. Scrap is a guy that can gain no love from me. Yo, if you love these music, this kind of songs, yeah, we get to relive all those moments this evening at the Pleasant Gardens inside Jolu. It's all about the Joy FM 90s Jam. Listen, it's the first Friday of the new year, and how best are you going to start the new year than showing up at the Pleasant Gardens? Come, let's jam, let's wind down, be in your best 90s outfit. Bring the afro hair, bring the baggy jeans, the fubu shorts, the filler boots. What not? Your Tims, what?
Back then, our songs used to be very interesting. Back in the days, yeah, our song used to hit. When you hear the 90s song, like, yeah, now boy, nice, like it was jamming. Let the rain come down and wash away my tears. Let it fill my soul and drown my fears. Let it shatter the war for a new sun, a new day has come.
We must have been stone crazy, 'cause we thought we were just friends. I've been thinking about you, baby. Okay. So the question right now is, do you know the artist or the group that sang the song? Yeah. You'd be like, Matilda, I've heard it before, but I don't know who sang or the group that sang it. Well, 90s Jam is happening tonight. You have to pull up. You understand? It's all music, vibes, everything from the 90s, all the way down to, let's say, the 2000s, yeah.
Well, with excitement building by the hour, all eyes are on the venue where final preparations are underway for a night of pure 90s nostalgia and unforgettable music. Michelle Latte was at the venue a while earlier.
I'm live here at the Pleasant Gardens, where tonight we are going to see the 90s Jam happening. You can see behind me the cabanas, which are ready to house our patrons tonight. Let's come closer to see the stage that has been set for tonight. The crew members have been on set and they are making sure that everything is put together. So tonight we have a smooth show. I'll be getting closer to one of the crew members in charge of lighting, and he's going to talk to us about how preparations are going so far. But you can see the stage fully set up. The sound systems are in. We've come to meet some of the other crew members also on land. They are checking everything to make sure that you have the nostalgic moment you're looking at having or reliving the 90s tonight. So here are the Pleasant Gardens. Let me get closer to one of the crew members. As I mentioned, he's in charge of lighting. Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Tell us your name and how preparations are going so far.
Okay, my name is Eric, well known as Bobby. I'm from Silicon House Production. I'm the lighting head for Silicon, and preparations ongoing here is smooth. We came in yesterday around 2 p.m. We've done about 70% of the work. This morning we're just finishing up and then fine-tune everything, so we are good to go.
Right. So during the event, will you be seeing you on grounds?
I'll be on grounds, but I'll be working. So yeah.
working and jamming small?
We'll see about that. Not too sure. Yeah.
But can you tell me one of the biggest tunes for you from the 90s?
Okay, so tunes, I've loved tunes from the camp of Hammer, but to actually pinpoint a particular artist, I've loved the way he engineers stuff. So any tune from Hammer is good with me here.
So just as he says, any tune from Hammer for him, it will be the best. But for you also at home joining us tonight, know that this is the right time for you to come in, eat with your outfit, come in your retro outfit, and make sure that you come in to enjoy the music. We are taking you back to the 90s, but come also with me. We see how the back of ours is looking like. These are the cabanas you can see right here. The executive seats are also ready. Fortunately, we have 13 cabanas which are going to be available tonight to our patrons. So if you've registered for one, definitely you'll be enjoying yourself in your cabana.
Well, we cannot wait to see you at the Pleasant Gardens at Tesano. Tonight, 90s Jam. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, business is up next.
Welcome back to Business here on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Taki, and that's our first business story. The Ghana cedi ended 2025 as the fourth best performing currency in Africa. According to Forbes, the cedi's value of 10 Ghana cedis, 93 pesos to the US dollar, makes it one of the strongest currencies on the continent. There's more in this report.
Tunisia dinar came first with a currency value of 2.90 per US dollar. It was followed by Libyan dinar and Morocco dirham in second and third respectively. In the fifth, sixth, seventh and eighth were Botswana pula, Seychelles rupee, Eritrea nakfa and Swaziland lilangeni. Rounding up the top 10 were South Africa rand and Namibia dollar. The World Bank stated that Ghana's currency was strengthened by its tight monetary and fiscal policies, increased export revenues, buoyed by higher prices of gold and cocoa, and improved market sentiment. Meanwhile, the cedi appreciated by a record 27.75% to one American greenback in the retail market in 2025. It traded at 12 cedis 30 pesos to the US dollar at the Forex Bureau. The Bank of Ghana, however, quoted the cedi at 10 cedis 45 pesos to the dollar. The International Monetary Fund, in its recent staff report, said the Bank of Ghana is actively managing the foreign exchange market while increasing its footprint. It added that the domestic gold purchasing program has been the key source of its inflows, which also included cocoa inflows and repatriation requirement on extractive sector export proceeds.
From that, the Ghana Revenue Authority is appealing to suppliers and businesses to ensure that consumers benefit from the measures undertaken to reduce value-added tax to 20%. According to the GRA, the new VAT, which took effect yesterday, have some transition period where stakeholders can recalibrate their systems and apply accordingly. Speaking to Joy Business, Commissioner General Anthony Sapon said the authority is engaging businesses to ensure a smooth takeoff.
Of the transitional arrangement, new booklets will be issued for taxpayers. In the meantime, if a taxpayer has not received a new booklet, the line for COVID levy should be 0. 2, the application of the 15% VAT should be on the exclusive value that you have on the invoice. So again, back to the example I gave, if you are selling an item for 1,000 Ghana cedis, on your booklet, you charge Get Fund 2.5% on the 1,000 value. NHIA 2.5% on the 1,000 value. COVID levy is cancelled out or is 0, and VAT 15% on the 1,000 value. If you all do this, both taxpayers as well as consumers also are aware of this. We believe that the new VAT law has come into effect. But part of the arrangement that we've done is that immediately in this new year, within the few days, new booklets are going to be issued to all VAT issuers, and that will replace the old booklet. We appeal to suppliers and businesses, as we have done in the past, that anytime there's such a transitional arrangement, we've gone on a temporary arrangement while the replace arrangement come into place. We would like to appeal to all taxpayers to ensure that in application of the new law, they apply both the spirit and substance of the new law so that consumers can actually benefit from the revision of rates, abolition of COVID levy, and the abolition of the decoupling that the president, under his vision, has assented into law, so Ghanaians can actually benefit from the reduction in the VAT rate of 21.1% into 20% in total.
That's all for business. We have more news for you after this break. Stay tuned.